Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. Before I begin this video and you'd like to use OCD Recovery's coaching services, please reach out to Phil at ocdrecovery.com and he'll get back to you as quick as he can. So yeah, today guys, I wanted to speak about guilt in ROCD and how that can look and how we can manage it and recover from it so we can have better relationships. So the main element to guilt in ROCD is the fear of living a lie, the fear of leading the partner on, spending your time in the relationship with this particular person who you're not actually that into. It might feel like you're living a lie, you're with them just for the sake of it and you don't actually like them, and then you're wasting their time, potentially wasting your time too. And we think that the getting out of the relationship is going to give us the relief that we want. And let's have a look at this. So with fear of living a lie, right, we need to be a lot more rational and a lot more open-minded to it, right? So if you look at any relationship that's ever happened, chances are in most of those relationships, somebody at some point has been living a lie. Let me give you an example. So you might have a girlfriend and she might put on a particular dress and you don't really think the dress looks good, but she comes downstairs and says, "Oh, hey, do you like my dress before I go out tonight?" And you're going to say, "Yeah, you look great. I like the dress." When in reality, you might not actually like that dress. But to say that you don't like the dress and you don't think she looks good, that's going to cause not only offense to her, but it's going to cause a lot of conflict in the relationship, right? So there are points where some people aren't actually being completely honest and authentic with their partner. It's just the reality of it. Another example, say you might have some in-laws that you're not really a fan of, right? You're not going to say to them, "Oh, I don't particularly like you. I don't think we're going to get on very well." You're not going to say that to them, are you? You're going to keep those thoughts to yourself and then get on with them when you see them, because you don't want to upset them, you don't want to upset your partner, and you don't want to cause needless conflict. Okay, so you got to think, if we go by that metric, then sure, we're living lies. There's other areas where we can live lies too. Imagine when you call in sick for work and you're not actually sick. You might be feeling hungover. Does that mean you're living a lie? Does that mean your whole life's a lie? Everything that you do from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, does that really mean that your whole life's a lie? Likely not. It's these global definitions that get us into trouble. Look in Asian cultures. There are some people who are homosexual and they can't disclose that due to their religion, so they have to make do with having a straight relationship with somebody who they're not actually attracted to because of their sexuality. That's living a lie. Another one, the amount of people these days who are married but are actually gay, but they stay in their relationship because they have children. Back when they were younger, being homosexual wasn't actually accepted as much, so they sort of go along with that, and it gets to a point where they get past the point of no return and don't want to lose the relationship in the marriage just because of their kids and they're too far involved. There's all of that going on too. So we got to think rationally here. Am I living a lie? Is my life a black and white lie? It's a global label. There might be elements or moments when you do, but again, it's the entirety of it. It's the universal global label that gets us into trouble. Okay. Another example, or another way that guilt in ROCD might latch, is wasting their time. I'm a bad person for wasting their time. I mustn't waste their time. But you got to think as well with the time aspect, right? You got to think the amount of time that people waste on their phones scrolling every day. I reckon in the case of a lifetime, right? And you look at how much time somebody wastes just by scrolling, for example. I reckon you're definitely looking at about a few years minimum a few years. So how about that wasted time? It's something to really think about. Another one as well, so you can waste time by imagining a job as well. So you might be doing 80-hour weeks, right, and you're only getting paid for 40. Imagine the time that you've been wasted by your employer. Imagine working in a big investment bank, the time that they've wasted of their employers there. That's another example. So wasting time isn't just this thing that's endemic to the relationship. It's all around us. So OCD is obviously going to hunt that out like a heat-seeking missile, and it's going to make you claim responsibility for it. It's going to make you seem like a bad person for wasting their time. It's going to make you feel like you're wasting all of their time and that they've got nothing else going on in their life where they could be wasting their time with that. that responsibility element is gonna be in there, right? So guilt and ROCD can come in those two formats especially, right? And because of that, you might find it hard to look at them or be around them. You may avoid them because you don't want these feelings to come up. And that's going to just reinforce the cycle. You might get guilt for doubting a perfectly good relationship, perhaps thinking you're better off elsewhere. Guilt for guilt for some, guilt for finding somebody else attractive. Being a human being on a biological level, you know, we are wired to be attracted to multiple different people. There's not this universal law that states that you can only be attracted to one person. Otherwise, if there was, then you're going against biology, right? And you're being very unreasonable towards yourself, right? So, the lack of feelings, maybe more attraction to somebody else, maybe living a lie, etc. That's going to lead you to confess, right? And you're going to seek out that confession. You might confess, the urges, the sensations, the intrusive thoughts, and you're going to confess that just to try and get the reassurance and try and reduce that discomfort of the thoughts and the urges, right? And you do it, and then you think, oh, it's harmless, and then 5 minutes later something else has happened or another thought comes in, and then you're seeking the reassurance and the confession, right? And that's just going to ignore your partner, and whatever answer the partner gives is never going to be enough for it, and it's just going to keep you embroiled off the cycle, right? So you have to just cut off that supply line and sit with those urges to confess, especially if you're feeling guilty. It's like, handing yourself into a jail if you think you've done something bad. Confessing is and getting reassurance is never the answer, and it's just going to keep you stuck, and it's actually just going to make people judge you more, maybe get irate with you, etc. Okay, so another thing as well to remember with ROCD and guilt, it can lead to a lot of self-criticism, a lot of self-downing for having these thoughts, for feeling this way, maybe for leading someone on, or not feeling that feeling of love that you think you should have. And that can lead to a lot of self-criticism. It can lead to problems in the bedroom as well, because you feel guilt for not feeling that right way or feeling aroused enough, and then you're just locked up in your head, and you think, oh, I don't really feel great here, I don't really want to do this, but you feel like you're forcing yourself to do it, and feeling numb and maybe not giving them the experience that they're after. You're going to feel claustrophobic as well. It's going to feel like everything that the partner does when you're with them is sort of intruding in your space, and you just need to get out. You just need to get this release, okay? But releasing and trying to get out is never the answer, okay? Because it's going to follow you anywhere. Like, if I was in the cycle, if I got on a flight from France to Spain to get into a different situation, my brain is still going to be the same. It's not going to change, right? So I'll be in the same scenario whether I'm in France or whether I'm in Spain. So it's very much the same with OCD. We think that a change of scenario, a change of circumstance is going to be the answer, but it never really works like that. Okay, so we've got to think. So with guilt in our OCD, so guilt is conditional life acceptance. Okay, we need to have unconditional self-acceptance, right? So it's accepting yourself, even if you're wasting their time, even if you're leading them on, even if you feel numb in the relationship, even if you don't feel like you want to be with them, even if you're in the wrong relationship, even if you feel like you're carrying on with the relationship just because it's convenient. All of those different angles are going to have to be looked at and worked on over time, right? Compulsions and reassurance behaviours are going to have to come down at the same time. No confessing your thoughts, especially the living the lie aspect or wasting their time or what you're thinking about them. No confession in that regard. That supply line is going to have to be cut down. And yeah, stay in the relationship. Like I said, you really want to just try and absorb that and work on acceptance whilst being in the relationship, because the beliefs and behaviours need to line up. The life structure in the relationship needs to be good as well. So of course, do your own thing, go to work and have your own interests, but also as well with your partner, make sure you're still having those behaviours in a quote unquote normal relationship. So having intimacy at least a few times a week, going out and doing activities together, going out with friends, maybe going out for dinner. I'm not saying do that compulsively, but the life structure needs to be good, and you genuinely need to be doing that and not avoiding it, and bringing all that discomfort for the ride with you. So yeah, those are really important factors for guilt in ROCD. You need to have unconditional acceptance of yourself and life. It's appreciating that I might be wasting their time, but that happens. We get our time wasted all the time by our employers, by social media. Our time is slipping away constantly. There's no set amount of time that can be wasted, because time is always going to be wasted. You know, the definition of somebody's wasted time might be different from somebody else in another country at different times. So there's the definition of wasting time is just, you know, very wishy-washy. We're existing on this rock in outer space with this finite amount of time, and we spend it doing different things. So, you know, to sometimes say that we're wasting it when we're naturally just alive anyway, and we have the luxury of experiencing time, you know, is very irrational in a way. And yeah, also living a lie. You know, people do live lies. It does happen. Like I said before, with religious aspects, you know, sexuality, all these different things. And it's about bringing down the catastrophizing off that. So, you know, even if I was living a lie, it still wouldn't be the end of the world. Okay, thanks everyone. Comment down below, and I'll see you on the next video.